So when I started writing this book, I actually hadn't written any Java code in quite some time. So I started to wonder, was my code really as simple as I just made it out to be? And to verify everything that I just shared with you, I searched 3 old Java code bases that I still have, and all of these projects were in production back in their day. And I did a search for this type of pattern, so I was looking for data types like I show here with string or string integer. And I found these percentages of occurrences within all the star.java files in these 3 projects. So there's 3 lines here, one for each project, and this shows the total number of lines in each project. And this column shows these sort of types or patterns that I found in these files. So the first one says that out of 74,200 lines of code, I only found 118 of these types of patterns inside those. And what I summarize here is that out of about 150,000 lines of Java OOP code, there's only a little over 1,000 that had this type of pattern, and that percentage is about 0.74%. It might really be more like 1, 1.5%, 2% at the most, because all those files did have blanks and comments. So the actual percentage is a little higher, but it's also very, very small. And so what I did after that was I manually looked through all this 1,117 lines of output, which included these patterns. And out of all those, these were the 2 most difficult lines that I found to read. So this one was a sorted map, and it contained pairs of strings and integers. And then this other one looked like this right here. I don't want to comment on this too much as I note here, but that is a look at using data types in some Java OOP code. And in the coming chapters, we're going to look at some Scala code, and specifically how to use Scala in pure functions. And one of the things you'll see, I'll give you a little bit of preview of that, is instead of seeing these kind of percentages here, let's just call that 1% to make things easy. Instead of seeing data types in 1% of your code, you're going to be seeing data types in a much, much higher percentage. Even when I only write Scala OOP code, this percentage is going to be much, much higher. And I also want to add this to this video. I didn't want to leave you hanging right there like that. What we're going to get into in the first part of this video series is we're going to create a word count function. And so here, this is the way you define a function. I'm calling it WC just to keep things short. I'm going to pass in something, a variable I named document, and that's going to be a type of string. And then this function is going to return a map, and a vector map is just a specific type of map. But again, it's a map that contains pairs of strings and ints. And if I go back to the previous page, what you'll see is that looks like this. So it'll be a map that looks like this. In this particular example, the word the, T-H-E, occurred 543 times and occurred 210 or occurred 99 and so on. So this map would contain values like this and it would just keep on going on. And the reason I use a vector map is because it allows us to keep things in a sorted order. But getting back to the point that I'm making and that you're about to see in the upcoming videos is that we're going to be working with types like this quite a bit. So you're going to see type signatures much more in our Scala code than you will in Java code. But the reason I added that here is because I don't think this is very intimidating. Once you get used to it, maybe on that first day or two, you'll say, oh, wow, you sure are using types a lot, like word count returns this type. That's not any different than Java except for the particular syntax we use. But we are going to continue to see more types. But I just wanted to make the point that this is not that intimidating. This is a word count function. You're passing in a string, and then it returns a map of string to int values. And again, if we go back to that, you just see that all we're going to do is return values like this from that function. So even though we talk about types a lot, it's actually very straightforward. And what I find is that code like this becomes simple to read because it's kind of like reading algebra or a blueprint. I can just look at this function signature right here, and by knowing that it's a pure function, I know that I'm passing in a string, I'm getting that map back, and that's the only thing that happens. But again, I'm jumping way ahead, so let's just stop there and then let's get on with the next lesson so you can see more about what I'm talking about.